Hey everyone, James here, and today we're going to be talking about checklists. As you progress in your RVing career, you'll no doubt discover the importance of checklists because let's face it, there's a lot to remember when you're RVing, and having a checklist is just a good way to make sure you don't forget something and wind up with an unpleasant surprise later on. And over the years, I've developed my own checklists, and we've shared some of those with you here before, whether that's a first trip of the season checklist, a pre-flight checklist for regular trips, or even something as simple as a packing list. There's value in all of that, and we hope you'll use those to develop your own lists tailored to the way you travel. But here's the thing with checklists. If you added up all the items on all of my checklists, there's well over 100 items, and I am also human, and I'm also inclined to be lazy. So I don't want to run through every single item every single time. And I know I'm not alone here, because if you looked at your car's owner's manual, it would probably tell you, check for proper operation of all turn signals prior to each trip. And I don't see too many people out in the grocery store parking lot getting out of their cars and making sure their turn signals work before driving home. That's just not how we humans work. But having said that, there are some checklist items I never skip. And these are primarily items related to safety and comfort. And if I realized I had skipped some of these, that would concern me enough that I'd probably be pulling over at the next exit to check them out. And you can ask Steph about this. She knows I'm totally not exaggerating here. So what follows is my absolute bare minimum set of checklist items. Now, this video is brought to you by our friends at Winnebago, and most of these items have to do with safety and comfort. And Winnebago very much wants you to be safe and comfortable on the road, so this is a natural fit. So let's head into the shop and we'll run them down. Okay, so the checks I never skip are broken down into two broad categories. And the first and most important of these areas is the safety checks. And I think the most important among the safety checks are the tire and wheel checks. I literally never let that one slip. I absolutely always, 100% of the time, check those before we leave home on every trip. In fact, I set an alarm to get up early so I can check the tires while they're cold before the sun starts warming them up. So, what do I check at each tire? There's a few things. Obviously, tire pressure. Make sure it's set appropriately on all of your tires while cold. Now, the procedure I use to set our tire pressures uses tire load and inflation tables from the manufacturer and the actual weight of the RV to set them properly. I wrote it in a post. I'll link it down in the video description if you're interested in checking that one out. So, tire pressure. The second thing I check is lug nut torque. And I really have to work at this one because our lug nuts are kind of behind a decorative cover. But I do it, which means I remove and reinstall those decorative covers every single tire, every single trip. Now, you will need a good stout torque wrench with the appropriate size socket in order to do that. That means you have to plan ahead because you may have to go buy something in order to do that check. Then I also do like a basic sanity check at each tire for bulges, cracks, or anything that ain't right about the tire, right? You'll have to take a minute to look. You may have to get down on the ground, and you probably should run your hands over the tire so you can feel anything that you can't see. So yes, you will literally get your hands dirty, but you can wash your hands later. Okay. Now, I know it's a slogan, but literally everything about your trip is riding on your tires. That means your rather expensive RV, all of its contents, and most importantly, the personal safety of you and all the occupants of your motorhome. So just do it. It only takes a couple minutes per tire. Okay, still on the safety theme, the next bunch of checks are for what I'll call life safety items. These are things that are designed to keep you alive, so it makes sense to make sure that they work. It only takes a couple seconds. So what am I talking about here? Well, things like your smoke and carbon monoxide detector. And even though mine are on an app and the app would alert me if the batteries are low, I still do it. Just hit the test button, you know. Even if you're like Steph and you can't stand the sound of it, just hit the button. It's pretty easy. For those RVs that carry propane, you will also want to check your propane leak detector. And this one's not specifically a check, but while we're talking about detectors, you should know that they age out. So they should have a manufacturing date on them, and most of them expire in about like 5 to 7 year, that kind of range. And I don't know about you, but I find it easier just to set a calendar reminder for when they're going to expire, then I don't have to like dismount the smoke detectors every time before we go on every trip. It's just easier. All I do is I hit the self-test button. Okay, fire extinguishers. Your RV came with one for a reason. You want to make sure that they are present, charged, and not expired. Now, as an aside, and this goes back to 2017, but there was a pretty big recall of certain Kitty fire extinguishers. If your fire extinguisher is new, you're probably fine, but if you're even the least bit unsure, it's best to go check it out against the recall. Now, for our own RV, I have converted our fire extinguishers to a different type of fire extinguisher that does not require maintenance and has no expiration date. My main reason for switching is that if you actually have to use this doesn't make a mess. It's like a gas, right? The non-expiring thing is just kind of a great bonus. But even with that, I still do check it each trip and make sure that it's right where I put it and that it's still dry and in good repair. Okay. If your RV has a propane system, this is also something you definitely want to check before heading out on a trip. Basically, gas leaks are bad, right? So you're looking for leaks. Check at all your connections, the regulator to the tanks, etc., and also check your hoses. Propane hoses, the pigtail connections, they can age out over time, dry rot, or even be damaged by rodents. And if you do have a damaged propane hose, that's not something you want to find out about in the wrong way, right? So the easiest way to do this on the propane system is to just get some soapy water and spray it on your hoses, connections, etc. And two things might happen when you do this. One, you might find a leak, and two, you might accidentally wash your propane system. And the final safety check I'll make is to check our water filters. This is a safety check and is extremely important to us because we, rather famously, drink the water from our RV's onboard tanks and plumbing system. Now we use both point of entry filters and point of use filters, and I check both of them before each trip. And if you drink the water from your RV, this is one you certainly don't want to skip. The second broad category of checks is what I'm going to call comfort checks. And these are important because, come on, this is why we bought RVs in the first place, right? We want to be comfortable in our travels. If we wanted to stink and sweat and be uncomfortable, it would have been a lot easier to just get a tent. But we have RVs. All right, so the first thing I'll check here are the power systems, because all of the things in the RV that are going to keep you comfortable, well, they all require power in order to work. So I'll give a quick glance to my battery state of charge. I know what it was when I put the RV away, and if it was like 80% when I put it away and it's 77% now when I take it out of storage, that's probably fine. But if it's like 14%, then there's something I gotta look into. Now we have lithium batteries, so I don't go testing with a multimeter or adding water or anything like that. But if you don't have lithium batteries, then use whatever means you normally do to verify that the batteries are behaving as you expect. The next thing I do is a brief check of all my charging sources. Now in our Winnebago Echo, that's the second alternator, solar, and shore power. And the paranoia behind these checks is real for me. It's a result of a real life experience we had. We went on a trip once, and while driving, I don't know why, but I asked Steph to check our battery app and make sure we were charging from the alternator. And we were not. One of the wires had been abraded off of our second alternator and it wasn't charging. And if I had checked it at home, I could have saved a lot of headache and a lot of money. So now I check it at home because I genuinely don't like those kinds of surprises. And you probably don't either. So besides the battery itself, I check each of the charging sources. But since we're talking a bare minimum checklist here, it's not terribly extensive. So for the second alternator, I basically just turn on the engine and make sure that it charges. That's it. For solar, I just pull it out into the sun and make sure that it charges. That's it. And for shore power, I plug it in and make sure that it's charging. Now, if we had a generator, yes, I would check that too, but we don't have a generator. So now once I've verified the power, then I'll verify that the things I want to use the power for are working. And this is where the comfort comes in. So, because I genuinely like being able to drink, shower, and use the toilet, I always check the water pump and verify that I can get water at each fixture. And for me, this one really doesn't take any extra time because another thing I do is I also purge the water system just to get any old water out of it each trip. And I use the water pump to do that. And so it's already done for me. Okay, the next one is a biggie. I always check the air conditioner to make sure it works. Not that it just powers up, but that it actually delivers cold air. It takes a minute or so. And as a bonus for most of us, this will also verify that your 120 volt electrical system is also working. Because seriously, nothing is going to wreck an RV trip faster than a faulty air conditioner. So I never skip that one. Because like, even if the RV breaks down and we have to like wait a couple hours to be towed somewhere, as long as we can do that in a comfy air conditioned RV, life's not so bad. Now, the next one is a bit more seasonal, but I do the same for the heater as well. Especially if you're going on a winter or shoulder season trip, make sure it fires up and delivers warm air before you've even left your driveway. And if I'm being completely honest, I might skip a heater check for an RV trip in July, but I would never skip it for a January RV trip. And that's it. My absolute can't skip list of items to check is pretty compact. On the safety side, there are tire and wheel checks, life safety detector checks, a propane system check, and a water filter check. And on the comfort side, we have a quick battery check, charging system checks, water pump, and then let's call it like climate control checks, like air conditioning and or heating, depending on the season. That's it. Now, do I have other items on my checklist? Of course I do. But remember, these are the ones where I would get a rash if I realized I'd skipped them. So these are just the absolute can't miss ones. There's lots of other things. So I do things like check and make sure Starlink is working and updated. But I don't always do that. And I wouldn't lose any sleep if I didn't, because, okay, what's the worst that could happen? Ooh, no internet. Okay, we'll live. And then there are other items you might think I'm missing, but in practice, I'm not. So say something like, make sure the fridge gets good and cold. I've got a Steph, and Steph will let me know about that one when she goes to load the groceries. So that one's not on my checklist. And I know all you one-uppers out there, you'll call me out on things like checking the engine oil or measuring the brake pad thickness. And it's not that I don't do those things. I do, but I don't do them every trip, every time. Remember, this list was the bare minimum. So, what did you think? Does this line up with your own bare minimum list? Let us know. There will be a post over on thefitrv.com where you can ask questions or leave comments, and I'll link to that down in the YouTube description. Until next time, see you on the road.